everybody? You're listening to the Kaze-kan podcast with your host Ed Tama 23.
And I'm Main Mug, along with the guest today, my long time friend from back in the day, Awesome Shadow.
My name is Awesome Shadow. I'm a gamer like the rest of y'all. Of course, I'm a Sonic fan.
Woo!
Anime, general, I like it all. I'm more casual in sort of way, but I'm like a hardcore Poke fan. So yeah,
Oh yeah, that's an interesting take. Speaking of casuals, Mima, you heard what happened with the melee incident?
So much salt, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
so many
But
reactions.
Like I only heard
shit,
about it after it became a big deal.
man, I was looking at it live when it was announced.
Yeah,
Uh, but there's like a sad thing when it comes to melee. It's like yes, it was taken out of Evo. But looking at Melee now, like Melee is gonna be what, 19 years old, about to be 20 as well,
yeah, pretty much. It's
and people
Yeah,
are still trying to get it in Evo, and it's like, come on,
yeah,
I feel old.
we need to move on.
it's older
But
than
then
some of the people who watch the melee tournaments.
Yes, like really.
uh,
now another thing that comes to the Melee, there's a specific problem that I want to go through because because as a Smash player playing all the Smash Brothers, not just Melee, and yes, I'm even gonna include the Smash Bros for the 3DS.
64 represent.
Right? So the Smash, I as a fellow Smash player, Shadow notices as well. We have a little problem when it comes to those who play melee. But before I go further into that, when I say melee, I'm not necessarily referring to every single melee player. I'm referring to most of any of the new melee players that came into the community after 2014.
Yeah, disclaimer, people.
Yeah,
Just because we have our gripes with certain aspects of the melee community, much like as normal people have with FGC in general, it doesn't mean we're talking about all players. In fact, we're not even talking about all the professionals. There may be some bad bananas in the bunch, but overall, I don't think that should stop the enjoyment. If you enjoy playing melee, you do you. But understand if Evo takes out melee, that doesn't mean melee's dead. It just means that it's not part of the main lineup. You know, you can
yeah.
Yeah,
people like funny because before you get into your topic, I always found it funny that as people are complaining, they're saying they were also the people that saying they don't need Evo, or it's the reason why people are watching it. You know, but go ahead, mean.
so get, going back in now, I played 64, have fun with 64, moved on to melee, have fun with melee, and then moved on to brawl. But as I was moving on to brawl was like, what can we all say about brawl?
Slipping
The slipping.
Yeah, what?
and
It's funny.
Meta
I've always
Knight.
heard it as tripping,
Well, that too. Yeah,
and
tripping.
as far and
the,
the
the
Meta
tripping
Knight,
was bad, but I got over it. Had a good time with it. But then midway during the cycle, I started noticing it happening. Now lot of people didn't like the tripping, and they didn't like the fact that that it wasn't as fast as Melee, but okay, that's where it starts. Nothing too bad, nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
But fast forward a little bit later, Smash 4 is on the horizon, and now we have like a weird split in the community to where it's the Melee fans and those who don't play Melee, whether they play 64 or Smash 4 or whatever else. But
yeah,
do keep in mind, going back to what I just
Mhm.
said just a second ago, after 2014, it started that's when this started to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because pretty much we start having people that would say that you shouldn't play any other Smash game other than Melee, or you shouldn't be playing any other games but Melee. That's
yeah. I only like I started noticing that when I would go on like some forums, and there was just this weird like it was almost like they were kind of doing it out of spite, with Melee and Brawl. When Brawl was fresh out, it was, and as it started to like wane itself, people were starting to see the flaws in Brawl. So it would make sense to be like, oh, it wasn't as good as Melee. It almost feels like a step down. But with the new game coming in, and we have no definition of whether or not it's better than Brawl or Melee or even 64, it was more like Melee's still good, and is the definitive one, but the new one hasn't been released yet. We know nothing about it. But I will say this: no matter
But
what Melee fans say, I always saw the general hype for that people give for the Smash as a whole, and I think that outweighs almost majority of the Melee fan base because those
yeah,
sales numbers don't lie.
especially Ultimate, that's so out. That's so almost the rest of the series.
Yeah,
So and then like I get people don't like Brawl because the tripping, Meta Knight, and all. But it was but it wasn't that bad of a game. But yet people don't mind Melee, but people treating like that's the only Smash game you're supposed to play. Cool, but I don't have to play Melee all the time.
yeah. Even
I,
like
now.
I want to play others.
even
But
veterans
another
could.
thing about Melee is when they were complaining more and more about Brawl, but they all here's the thing when it comes to the community. Yes, when they first came out, people were treating Smash as a joke because it's like, that party game. Yeah, it's like the FGC they would make fun of those, but not necessarily like every how do I put it? When I say FGC, see, one part of the FGC doesn't represent the whole entire FGC. Because I guarantee you, if you talk to a person that plays Under Night in Birth, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, they're not going to be the same as a person that plays Ultimate Marvel 3, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat,
Street
or
Fighter.
Yeah, the FTC is
so.
a big melting pot. There like so many people. Like there's people that there. You have the people that are obsessed with anime, the weebs of the community of the FGC. Then you got people who are anti-anime. So but yet they're in the same community. They may not agree with each other, but they kind of let each other. It's like that weird, like the watering hole, and each community is like a different type of species of animal, but they all
Like
just kind of blend in, and you know
right, like they all coexist with one another. They don't have to talk to
But
each other,
and
but they
here
all
lies
coexist each
the
other.
problem, though. Now, if a Guilty Gear player talks to a Street Fighter player, they'd be like, "Oh, It's like, oh, that. It's like, what game you play? I like to play Street Fighter. I like to play Marvel and a little bit of Mortal Kombat. The BlazBlue player would say, yeah, I like to play BlazBlue and his other games. Now, if you talk to a late 2014 Smasher, then it'll be all like, "Oh, I only play Smash." Okay,
No,
it's
what
like you
Smash? Brawl? No melee. Okay.
okay. It was like, well, you want? It's like, yeah, I play Smash too. It's like, but I only play the new one. I don't really play melee anymore. It's like, oh, but you need to play melee. Um, and here, and that's the problem. You can you can coexist with everyone amongst the base. Coming back to the late 2014 Smash player, when you talk to them, it's like going through one ear and out of the other. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I- it's there be times to where they would demand respect from different communities, not just the fighting game community, but multiple communities where they would deserve respect before because of what they did and the scene they have. But then when people give them valid criticisms of issues that they need to fix as a whole, then they flip it and say, "Oh well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a casual. Well, you're probably as like you from the FGC. The FGC sees anything else under the sun but good and all this other stuff." But
Yeah.
it just brings in that question. It's like, how do you expect to be respected when you don't want to give respect?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I know it's a little. It might be like adding. Uh, it might start a like flame or whatever, but I actually found the.
Rest in peace, comment section.
Yeah, the post from that infamous. I don't know if you read it. The infamous 4chan post about why melee has grown stale, and it has a picture. Like the guy who posted it had a picture of Kermit screaming, and like I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but there's a little paragraph that I like that is just like, forget about age, forget about my displays, forget about your obnoxious fan base for 5 seconds and think about how utterly stale melee is. You can claim the game is growing all you want, but there is zero variation in the part of the community that actually plays the game. There are a handful of good players left while the scrubs fight for the scraps at the bottom of the barrel. There's no Spark who played mid to low character in Continuum Shift and pulls the tournament out from underneath everyone's nose. There is no Gamer B from Thailand playing a character nobody cared about and slaying veterans left and right. There is no Noah, a little child that was able to win games by abusing the shit out of super armor. So the thing is that that's where I fall under when it comes to melee. I don't see what the community sees. I just see a game that we used to play when I was in middle school. And there is no like up and comer. I've heard Mango Nation, Leffen, Hungry Box so much, like I have never heard anybody else out of that community. Whereas I've heard more names from the Smash community in general, but from the melee community, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they have attended other Smash games, um, but as far as I know, they really are set on being melee players. And the thing about esports, like, because technically Evo is part of more of the esports more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
you have to adapt to the climate changes of the system.
If you were to say that they need to adapt, they won't. This is a community that if there was a disabled player that wanted to use a special type of controller to play the game, they would say that disabled player needs to man up and use the GameCube controller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the problem is that comes from the, you know, that may not come from the actual like the ones who are always in the tournaments. Like that may not come from Left and Hungry Box, or like, you know, the big names. The fact that I know them
Yeah.
by names shows how little like the pro series are. Like you don't have to know every name of the guys from the NFL or ML, you know, or baseball.
Yeah.
But with Melee, you kind of like that's it. Imagine going to a football game and your team is playing against the same three teams. There's 50 states, and California has more than one team in the sports game. It it may be hype for the people who are into the community, but it's kind of like I see it as them. They are emulating that they could be that person one day, but they don't.
Yeah,
They
no.
don't want to. They don't want to play in the brawl. They don't want to play in the ultimate. They don't want. They didn't want to play in the Wii U. And it's just like, well, if you don't want to play by our rules, you don't get to play with us at all. And they don't like that. They want to have their. I'm with you on this. They do want their way. They want to have their cake and eat it too. And the problem is when they don't get their way, despite I've seen so many people say, well, I've never seen the Melee community act like that. And it's just like, well, it's like they don't notice it, like they don't notice their body odor. Boom.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
But like,
that is bad.
it's like,
No,
no,
bro.
seriously.
They know.
That's
They actually know.
I'm.
It's just they don't want to openly admit or accept it because
Yeah.
it's just like, no, this guy's just wrong. I just have to play melee, and one day I might become a god.
Yeah. Hold on. That wasn't like that was like a jab, but I mean, but I'm being for real, like sincere. Like even when I take showers, but there'll be days where I kind of just like let it slip, and I'm like, I'm fine. But that's the thing, you won't notice your own body odor.
No,
Like
I
even
get
if you
you,
get the
but
like,
it's like,
no, yeah, I
you
just don't. I don't want people to freak out.
might as
Like
well
I'm,
we'll add soap on the band
Yeah.
item list.
yeah, but I'm just saying like they're like hoarders don't recognize the problem. What I'm saying, that's what I'm trying to get at. If you don't recognize the problem, that's probably because you can't see. You're not looking at the bigger picture. You're looking. You're trying to find you're trying to find like, well, I never seen that, therefore it didn't happen. You don't say, oh man, I've never seen anybody act like that, but that's really a surprise. It's more like, well, that's never happened. I don't know why you're like.
I can give you a perfect example of where you're getting at.
Yeah.
They wanna ban like anyone from that timeline. They want to ban Nintendo 64 controllers, making an argument that it gives players an unfair advantage because of button macros when they don't even when 9 times out of 10 when they say that the person that's telling you that they don't even know what a macro is. If you confront them, they'll say, "Yeah, I'm smart. I went to school. I know what I'm talking about." Then isn't the same thing you're complaining about essentially the same thing you're doing when you change your controls when you make your nickname?
Right?
I don't know. To like, I'm not good with analogies, but with the whole idea of having specific CRTs and a factory, a GameCube controller with a very specific factory defect that lets them enable the control to do a specific glitch that helps them have an advantage. But to me, I always found that weird. Like, you can't.
And
like,
do we
that's,
also have to
it's
bring up the fact
practically
that they had to
it's
do
cheating. It's cheating,
Yeah.
and that stuff's not allowed in any other form of fighting game.
Right.
Why?
I mean,
Why
the
is
game.
that the exception?
I mean, the game is already broken. They just want to have the control to the way so they can broke it even more. That's why most people don't want to play Melee.
I think a good word is that it's exploited because
Yeah,
Melee's fun. I don't think it's a broken game. Like it's not people falling through the thing and T posing. I just think people have
yeah,
found it's no different from when a playtester plays a game for hours and hours and hours on end to just find any kind of exploit and bug so that they can let the people know that hey, this thing I'm having, this this problem here, there I don't know if it needs to be addressed. But if Guilty Gear or Blaze Blue, if somebody said they didn't want to play the tournament because their arcade stick the arcade stick they were given is not that's like the same thing with the GameCube controller has a very specific glitch. Everyone would just tell them, "All right, you're not in the tournament." Like,
Simple as that.
but the
hmm
thing is that the melee bracket's so small that if Leffen said he's not going to be in it, it's like it's going to cause a big deal. Like, oh, because like if you can't have the all-star roster of the melee tournament players, which is like what a handful, like five. It's the same people over and over again. They're just passing around the trophy. There's no underdog. There's no like spectacle, and I guess I can appreciate the the commitment for people that say I'm okay with watching the same thing over and over again. But even
I
like
can't do
again,
that.
like somebody might say like that happens with sports. You're watching the same kind of. It's still the same game overall. You're watching people pass the ball, but there's different techniques. There's different players that get rotated. Not every team gets to go to the championship,
Are
and
you gonna watch Bowl 16 40 times? Are you?
Hmm.
that's but
Nah.
like even if it feels like with baseball, like when the Houston Astros won the World Series, that like took everybody by surprise. I mean, that's just
Oh,
it's just an example. Like we don't know what's gonna happen because there's so many like players, there's so many teams in the series. But in melee, it's like watching Little League. It's not fun. You're only applauding. It's like what it is. The melee fan community, the fan base, is pretty much the parents that are watching their kids play the game and cheering them on because even though they're not, good at anything else, this is the only thing they got, and they're
yeah.
trying to say like, "That's me. I'm the successful parent. I'm the successful player." Who's watching Leffen win? So one day I could be like Leffen and win that tournament, and I can get paid making money off of esports, so I don't have to get a job. Like,
When it don't work that way. And
Right.
as for that whole spiel of I can't have a certain controller, but that reminds me of another ordeal. Going back to the whole thing of them being stubborn. Like they'll say that you can't play Smash on anything except for a GameCube controller when
and
it's
on the
been proven
CRT,
multiple times that you can play Smash on any controller and on any television so long as the television can output put at 120 hertz. Now, now as I say this right now, I'm sure there's going to be like what 90 or 100 people saying, "Oh, this guy doesn't know who he's talking about. He just pulls shit off
no,
his
it's just gonna
ass."
be
It's
like
like,
two people that managed to find this podcast that happens to be about. No, but and the thing is that like just comparing to other like again back to the esport, like I watch the Overwatch League from time to time, mostly because I'm bored of the game and I rather see professionals play because there are some really good plays. But even like after the year one, you'd be surprised how much it's just like they added more teams to the mix. It used to be just a couple of teams from like here and there. They added more Asian teams, like from like China and other other parts of Asia other than South Korea but and they added more teams like from Washington and Atlanta. So despite it being the same game, there's new players in the mix, and depending on how those teams are. They're fresh out the box. Who knows? They could end up being the new champs and just come out of nowhere. With there's none of that in Melee. There's no mix ups. There's no underdogs. I feel like it's just an excuse for these people to get together at this thing, not have to pay for anything, and just get and earn prize money if there's a prize at all. Like I feel Melee at this point should just be like a high school tournament thing that the only thing you win is a free gift card to like a local pizza place. That's what Melee is to me. It's shenanigans. But these people were given an audience. Like you see how much what happens when you don't start shoving us in lockers. Um, they start getting their ways and they start getting entitled about it. Like sometimes,
Right.
Gotta get my
like
hand
we're
warmers.
we're losers, we're geeks, we're nerds, whatever. But if we weren't put in our place at a certain point, you let that ego get to you. Like look at them. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about their community leaving them, and that's great. That's great. I would kill to have the dedicated fan base that some of the Melee players have.
Oh
But
yeah.
what happens with that is that I like when I watched that video where Smash players react, Melee players react specifically to that uh, live stream of the announcements of the main lineup. I don't remember which one said it, but one of them said they should boycott Smash Ultimate. And whether he was being for real or not, that's the kind of stuff I don't like with that kind of crowd that Melee has.
Mhm.
I remember the story of the infamous like Smash 4 tournament where they booed throughout the entire.
The Bayonetta players.
Yeah. And it's just like
Are you referring to the grand finals or just doing matches?
I think it was specifically I think it was the grand finals where it was two Bayonettas.
Oh yeah, that.
That was more because the Bayonetta players were stalling on a grand stage of grand finals. This ain't no local or pools to where you can do that. This is finals, and I got to get it over with because there's another game that's about to be set up in a minute. So
All right. Okay, so all right. So it was just taken out of context. See? That's a good
Yeah.
thing that I didn't jump into it I thought cuz I was told that was a Melee crowd that
now,
was trying.
if the match were to drag on because they're beating the hell out of each other, that's one thing. Then it's like cool. We'll wait till it's over. Congratulations and all that to whoever wins. But if it's just someone's camping on the other side and no one's trying to hit each other, then it's like, what are you doing? The other people, we got another tournament coming. We can't do this all day. We can't stay
Right. And
all night.
then what about that? Well, not better, but a little worse is that with the players were stalling, they were friends, and so at the same time they were stalling, they was having a conversation.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can understand. That's yeah, that's okay. But
But this is it. This is the thing that I'm talking about right now. We can have a discussion about what just happened and come to agreement that okay, that was wrong. They could have handled the situation better.
yeah, and there was no correlation
Yeah.
between the subject that we had.
If you talk to one from that bracket from 24, 14 and above, you can say whatever, but it's not gonna go in. It's not. They're not gonna process the criticism. They're not gonna take it. It's just gonna be like, yeah, fuck you. I'm just gonna keep playing melee. You just hating. I'm gonna go back to playing melee. And that's the problem that everyone has. Is like they can go on and on complaining about how no one wants to accept them. They treat them like jokes. But here's the thing. Now, if you talk to a Mortal Kombat player, do you see the Mortal Kombat player acting like a fool?
No.
Sometimes, but not not like unnecessarily stupid,
Yeah, because they're really
because
old. Because I feel like a lot of Mortal Kombat like players are like in their third. Like a lot, they're pretty
and
chill.
Like older 20s to 30s.
Yeah, but
now
with
when I say fool, I rarely see people chunking controllers at the TV. I don't see. It's like, yeah, it will get heated, but it won't escalate into a fight.
save that for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 fan base. I remember seeing that
Yeah,
one video where these dudes are like talking mess, and it's just like I think
Yeah,
It was on a Donkey video. Like he did that. He took that scene where they're all just trash talking, getting each other's faces while it's playing the character select theme, and
oh
they're just this
no,
guy, fuck, and they're just going at each other, like, and they're just getting heated.
that's funny.
yep. But that's what I'm talking about. I see. It's not to say that that doesn't happen in other communities as well, but primarily when I see something like that, it's mostly coming from that side of the community. It it's like I rarely hear from older Smash players doing something stupid, getting into allegations and all that. It's just primarily from that crowd you said earlier, Shadow. The people who
Yeah,
say Mango Nation
and
Fox
Fox
McCloud.
Leffen,
McCloud.
it's always from that crowd. I mean, because I've yet to hear anything about Ken, Isaiah, the Deadly Alliance. Yes, it's showing how old I am, but
See, I don't
Oh
even know who you're
wow.
talking about because I'm kind of I'm kind of still fresh to names when it comes to FGC in general.
but I'm just saying as in the Smash community.
Yeah,
And I know for certain I've yet to hear a story about Captain Jag either. It's just the same people. That's
Right.
like I hear about Mango, I hear about Leffen,
Oh,
and
and then oh
or
yeah, sorry,
or
Mark.
whenever I hear the Smash community bashing Hungry Bucks for whatever reason.
Mm. And then I remember the same time that was going on, our mother was having a live stream was going, and he was discussing that with his chat. And I remember the same, not to say that you said it about they want someone want to boycott, but someone said instead of instead of Evo having them, they rather set up a tournament at the same day of Evo. But not left, but a model said, well, we if we do that, it will make them look bad. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to do that because that just make it even worse if y'all do that.
yeah. Well, that's the thing.
But
Some
they're gonna do it anyway. They're gonna
Yeah,
do it anyway and try whatever stunt they do, and then they'll try to say, "See, people still came here. That means we need to be being evil." But I thought you hated evil. You should just shut up.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
just funny. We don't need Evo, but let's go to Evo. Let's set up at Evo. Let's show them what we're made of at Evo because we don't need them. Like
And yet y'all there showing off to prove y'all want to go back into Evo.
who like
It's
try
like we're not there, so let's tank ultimate.
rent a hotel, try to start your own convention. Let's see how far that gets you.
Right.
Like it's funny that people will go to a venue that's already been paid for, it's already been handled, everything's already set up for everything, everything's going along on their schedule. But when we say to start your own thing, it's like you make it seem like we're talking to the people who think it's so easy to like just start a new tournament and like everyone's just gonna flock to the melee one. Are you kidding me? Like who's gonna buy the projector? Who's gonna where are you gonna
Who's gonna
get
bring the?
this
Who's
venue
gonna?
and
I'll go.
such short notice? How many people have actually bought their ticket already for Evo that you're just gonna convince them, hey, come to our place? So the idea is to, show up uninvited, but you're still gonna give Evo money because you're gonna pay for a ticket. They're not just gonna let you in. You're not gonna be a mob either. That's what security's for. Like
Yep.
no, and trust me, you look at everybody. You look at just FGC or just video game enthusiasts in general. There's not one person in there that could actually start a mob that could overtake that without them looking like a fool. They're just gonna be
Yeah,
on a
because
cringe.
it's like, why are why are y'all acting this way? Well, okay. What did y'all do not to be into? Speaking of which, this whole thing, there's another thing going, like calling bad back to what Melee fans do from 2014. They'll be all like, they'll have that attitude of any other game doesn't matter. Perfect example. I remember seeing a video where our motto was like, I'm trying to remember. Was it our motto or Leffen? Oh no, it was Leffen. Leffen said when they announced Under Night was going to be in the lineup, like Leffen's gonna just say, oh, no one's gonna watch it. And
Ha
I'm like,
ha ha. It's
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
no, you don't know the community.
and that's the thing. People like melee fans. They're so unaware of their own fan base that they don't realize how big or just like how dedicated other fan bases are. Like Melee's not the only passion game that has to be at Evo because of the fans demand it. Like
Yeah,
Unis didn't get there because it's a new game that everybody wants to play or it's like sponsorship. They had a grind for that view.
yep.
Hmm.
Like, look, it's just accept that you're not the only people that have a dedicated fan base who's willing to do like anything. It wouldn't be up there if they weren't confident in the numbers of people who are gonna watch it. You know what? Some people are gonna watch it just to spite melee players. That's what
Hmm.
that's what you did. You're saying nobody's gonna watch it. You like, do you know how many people have shot themselves in the foot because they expected the to go against? They weren't expecting, you know, the wind to turn in against their favor.
Right.
Like, oh, this game's never gonna do well. It does well. Oh, what a surprise!
Ah,
Or
now I remember. Yeah, when it came to Armada, sorry I forgot the job, but Armada tried to refer to the FGC as being nothing but a bunch of sheep that can't think for one another, and I'm like,
Wow.
the
just because
the irony is
you don't
strong with
want
this
to
one.
play a new game, but when it comes to that, when you say that, this this also comes back to my other point. Well, that I've been saying multiple times. I can have a conversation with a NetherRealm Studio player who plays Mortal Kombat and Justice. I can talk to a person that plays Soul Calibur, Tekken, or any other 3D fighting game. I can talk to a person who just likes Marvel and Capcom games, and I can see you see where I'm going. I can talk to all these different communities, but I cannot talk to an individual who's coming into Smash Brothers Melee after 2014.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
So, point being, as a community, you can't be shocked and you can't be angry that people have something against you when you don't want to take no criticism, you don't want to have a conversation, but when you do have a conversation, you'd rather people feel sorry for you. It's like, yeah, we had to go, we put so much passion into our game and people mocked us. But going back to what Ed said, do you honestly think, well, no, I ain't gonna ask, because you honestly do believe that your game is the only game that has a passionate fan following that passionately grinded. Everyone else is only recognized through brand recognition,
but also
which any other person in the FGC, see, they already know. It's like, if you want your game to be good, you gotta make it good. You gotta present it, and you gotta do everything you can to push it. it's like rarely a time to where a game is just going to be recognized because of the company. No, if the community don't care about the game, then you're only going to see the game for like what, a minute, and then that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with the Melty Blood, I it's always fun to see the Melty Blood, like those pictures of them just holding tournaments in a hotel bathroom, or like the joke is that no matter where they are, they will hold. Like I love seeing like pictures of like creepy like places, like a dark alley with like, and it's just like people be like, that's where the new Melty Blood tournaments. Like
Yeah.
I love that. Like think of like the most threatening aura, like a place, just like a skyscraper. Like if Melty
Then
Blood
you
came out
see
in
that one dude
2000,
in the background with the laptop with the blood.
yeah, if
Wait.
if if Melty Blood came out in 2001, I bet you, like anything that people would have made a joke that they held a Melty Blood tournament on the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Like that's like I know, but like you get the idea of
Right.
just that's the joke that no matter where there'll be a Melty Blood. Like I could make even worse jokes, but that one was just, the idea, like let that sink in just.
Yeah.
And it's not like, again, it's not about the dedication, because any fan base can be dedicated to let a game not die. The problem is Melee fans never gave that impression that their passion benefited others. Like
Yep.
Unist being up there gives hope to the FGC. The FGC is like in a iron lung. It's hospitalized. It's bedridden. It's not well. And the problem isn't the other games around us. It's its own self. It's like a smoker who has lung cancer who's still popping a cigarette in because he can't deal with, the fact that he's dying. Because no matter what, fighting games like have been around before, like like first person tournament games like Quake and stuff. Street Fighter and arcades, you know, like our dads not probably played, against somebody with a quarter, with
Yep.
Street Fighter. Like
Yeah.
I know you don't like, you're tired of Street Fighter 2, Mug, but like you can't deny that Street Fighter 2 shaped the paved the way for the FGC. But of course, it gave room for the games to expand. Street Fighter 5, people give its complaints and everything. The fact that it's still going,
I might have my criticisms of Street Fighter Five, but at least I moved on to Street Fighter Five.
at least it's try. I feel like at least they're trying to fix it. Like we give so many game developers passes. I've seen so many people give passes for Mass Effect because it's BioWare, so it's okay if Andromeda
BioWare.
sucks. But Street Fighter 5 doesn't have all these characters, and it's just like, but Skullgirls only has 10 characters, but it's okay because it's a wee babby company. I mean, Capcom was people don't understand, like Capcom was in a do or die situation, and of course, what actually helped them was the success of Resident Evil 7. Ironically, but Street Fighter 5 is still going. Infinite,
I don't
you
know
feel
what they're gonna do with five at this point because it's like you got the community, but it's like people are already way ready for them to make a new game, but that's not gonna be for a while.
Yeah.
I think
Speaking of new games,
yeah, we should probably move on to a different subject. We got onto this way too long. We're so sorry, everybody. Like, don't get mad at us. Just
the melee community. Yes.
yes, get
no,
mad at
correction.
get mad at all
Just,
the professionals. Blame them. They're the ones that got you into this mess.
no, not professionals.
I'm playing. I'm kidding. I know. I'm joking. I'm not being serious. There's too many factions that come into play. But just understand, let it go. You don't need it. Like y'all said, like the community said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
But
I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know what they're gonna do on the past months until Evo.
yeah.
So
Well,
I
at least we
mean, they'll
have.
still have. I mean, they'll still have tournaments. All other places, just the big main one, Evo. So before that, I don't know what they're trying to do. Some people saying that they're trying to do something, trying to get it back in, but good luck trying that.
Yep.
Yeah. Although Melee wasn't the only game that got cut.
evil though. There was another one.
I think take it you're referring
Guilty
to
Gear.
Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah, it's Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, when I roll around the community just to see what's going on, what tournaments are going to be where, how's the development of new games and whatnot. Like I've been noticing people complaining about Dead or Alive 6. Not to the extent as Melee. But still complaints to where they'll say, "Oh, why is Dead or Alive 6 not the E?" And I was like, did, did y'all forget already?
Hmm.
Like, cause some people, cause this reminds me of before Dead or Alive 6 even came out. Like people were trying to, I don't really know what it is, but with certain individuals in the or whatever game you're trying to rep, you have that one person, and I know, and I think I know I think you know what I'm talking about when I say that one guy. Like new game coming out, it's like, yeah, they're making them a new game. This new game is going to be better than all the other games that's out right now.
Ha ha
Now you
ha.
should support this game. And I was like, no. Shouldn't you wait until the game comes out? It's like, oh, well, you're just a Tekken fan. Tekken is getting stale because of guest characters. I'm like, wait a minute.
Guest
How
character
could you?
with Dead or
It's
Alive.
like what you all talking about guest characters when you got Ryu Hayabusa and Master Chief.
No, 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 not even. It's within Dead or Alive 5. They had virtual fighter characters.
Yes.
Four of them, if I'm correct. Pi.
And
Uh.
then one character from King
Oh yeah, Mai Shiranui.
from Fatal Fury and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's right.
But you want to
Live in the
say
game.
Tekken's getting stale because of guest characters.
all I will say about with guest character with Tekken that the Walking Dead one was weird. It's not bad, just weird.
I can't tell you if it's good or bad because I personally don't care about Left 4 Dead. No, well,
Left
no,
4
not
Dead,
see,
The Walking
see,
Dead.
you,
I mean,
you already hearing how much I don't care about it.
but I will say, Geese being a guest character was pretty cool. That was sick. That's awesome.
Yes, that
That one
was.
makes sense. That one was hype.
Yep, because you got old man geese was like what's up?
Yeah, that was great. But for Dead or Alive 6, for as far as Dead or Alive in general, I was a pretty decent fan. I played 2 when it came out on the Dreamcast, and I just liked.
Now,
Uh,
I love Dead or Alive Live the series as a whole, but when it, I have like problems with mostly 5 and the current 6. Now,
um,
personally, my favorite Dead or Alives were like 2 and 4, but
2, yeah.
like 5, on the other hand, 5 was like the game is there, but costumes,
You gotta
cost,
follow those
cost,
costumes.
Yeah,
costume.
the DLC fiasco with it is bad, and the season passes, that was just oof.
Before before we
Exclusive
even
costumes that
get to
cost
that, like
$90.
with season 6, well not season 6, but before we get to Dead or Alive Live 6 with the season pass, now, and I want all the Dead or Alive lives to all the Dead or Alive fans to get back with me on this one.
Present.
For who thought this was a good idea
Uh,
that a game, if you were to get all the DLC in the game, it would amount to $1,638.
Koei,
This was a good idea.
Koei, investors. It's not like
Now, I like costumes, but why would I want to pay for costumes when I just can mod them in either by modified console or through PC version? So,
yeah,
so the whole thing of taking modded costumes and flipping them for money, that don't make sense.
Yeah, but you gotta remember that some people that don't have PC, and I get
Even
people
if you
will
don't
buy
have,
some,
you still
but that's
have console
yeah,
stuff.
but that's still too extreme. All that, like I know some people will buy one or two, maybe 10 costumes, but get all ridiculous.
Like all the costumes.
Man, that's
no.
Because that's my big beef with five. Because five had amazing gameplay, improved the formula, good
Yeah,
graphics
it
and
felt fun to
whatnot.
play.
yeah.
It's fun, but when I move on to six, it doesn't really feel like a new game. The new game feels like it could have just been DLC for five.
And yeah, and honestly, with the DLC and everything about it, like I bought some of the costumes in five. But it's ironic because five was supposed to be the point where, like, it's funny that six they said that they're gonna tone down the lewdness, but five was supposed to be the one that did that because you almost don't see any of that. Because remember, Itagaki was the one who was like the mastermind behind like Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, and he was the reason why all those characters were like that. So once kind of when they had a falling out and he moved on to do his own project, which failed inevitably, um, Dead or Alive 5 comes around the corner, and it's like it tried to be like the new. This is gonna be at Evo, and it's just like, but hardcore fans didn't care for they don't care for like the tournament scene. There's not like there is a little tournaments. There are a few people that like care about that scene, but I think the hardcore people that are putting money into it only care about the costumes, and there wasn't that many costumes or like even like the like it didn't like they toned down a lot of stuff, and only when the DLC started popping up everywhere did they started like going hard on it. I mean, they started like the swimsuits were like uh Dead or Alive Extreme volleyball tier. Like they had some really like out there ones, but that's what people wanted. And then Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3 comes out, and that shows that sold a lot for not even being having an official American release. You had to buy that off like Play Asia, or you had to get it from. It
Yeah,
was
like shipped over.
yeah, but it did well,
Yeah,
and I think they're
but Dead or Alive runs off the philosophy six sells, and that's how it's been doing. I mean, people don't accept that. It's fine.
so, hold on. Yeah, let's cut ourselves off right there before we start going in the deep end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we don't go into that. Sonic film? Anybody?
That image. Holy
Uh,
shit.
the
Have you
post,
seen it?
the screenshot grab where he's running like in a blur effect.
Well, not that. No, well, not that. Like
How do I even?
it's already on the internet, but someone leaked the official look for Sonic.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
god,
yeah.
it's not bad, but just what you do
It's
with his
like
eyes, like
I'm not bad, but I'm not impressed either.
yeah, and like people were saying, and I heard this could have gone a lot worse, but it's not good. Well, I mean, it's not
But
great. it's decent, but
You know
I'm just
what? But
like,
you know what gave people the bad impression was the very first like thing where it's just a silhouette where he runs
oh,
in, and everybody thought
yeah.
he was gonna have little weird beady eyes.
He
Like all the
do.
pictures that people recreated him to see like what he would look like in the light. That one was a bad poster.
Oh my god, he kind of still do with
You know
the
which you know which
with the
one
beady eyes, but that big, and I just oh god, that
you
look
know what
weird.
image looks good? I don't know if
What,
you've
what,
seen it, but it's an image where he's with a cop on a cop car and he's laying back, and he looks
now
decent in that one.
that
That one
one
looks
looks
really.
I like.
I'm
Yeah,
okay with that
that
design. Like if,
yeah.
but the way the poster like, there's something about his limbs that just feel wrong. Like that. Have you seen that poster where it's supposed to be on the bridge and it just shows his feet?
Yes.
I hate that poster too. I've seen so many people edit it where like he's just peeing over the bridge. It's
Oh no.
yeah, but it's so weird that like
And,
this.
and and then that's one image of on a pole from Sonic '06.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
And as a Sonic fan who was on and off about Sonic, meaning like at one point I kind of dropped it because I thought, oh, I'm too old for Sonic, and then I come back around when it was cool to like Sonic again. I'm just kidding, but no, but I was kind of the person like, oh, I'm too old for Sonic, but at the same time I'm like, come on, son, you could do it. You gotta prove them right. You gotta prove them right. We could have one good game in the background, like, cause Sonic Adventure 2 for me was like the game I loved playing, and I know I sound like very generic and I sound like a you know a surface
No.
level fan, but like what I'm saying is that like my first introduction to Sonic was actually Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 3 and Sonic and Knuckles on the CD-ROM, not the original
Oh,
Genesis.
okay.
There was a CD PC version of it, and
Oh, okay.
Oh,
and
the
I also
portable version.
yeah, and
Oh, okay.
I watched the animated
Boy.
shows. I watched Sonic Underground, despite it not being that great. Does
Yeah,
anybody remember Sonic Underground?
I do. Kind of
Yeah,
still
Yeah.
remember the
Contra,
things
White
off of
had
my
three
head.
voices.
I mean, actually, that's a bad question because I think everybody remembers it because the internet doesn't let you forget.
Right.
Like that one GIF where it shows like I guess I forgot his name, but I guess it was Sonic's brother, the green one, where he's trying to
Manic?
catch. Yeah, Manic, where he's trying to catch the baby Sonic before he hits the ground, and he hits the ground. It's a robot.
Oh,
Have you seen that
oh,
GIF?
oh, oh.
Family values, people.
More like 6 feet underground. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. That was actually somebody already said that. That was Joel from Vine Sauce who said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
But the Sad AM cartoon, I actually don't remember a lot of the Sad AM. I remember the
I do
wacky
vividly,
slapstick
but
not
one.
much. What about the Adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, the one on Disney where it was more like it was like a Roadrunner cartoon more than a serious cartoon. Like
Yeah, and then toward the end of the episode, it had a little segment of Sonic Save.
yeah, hey Tails, remember to get your prostate checked every month over the age of 35. Most
And
males
trust me, it's
between
no
over
good.
25 and at the age of 40 deal with these things. So remember, your doctor is your best friend. It's
And
all
if you
like,
don't go, it's no good.
that's no good. Did you know that Steve Urkel from
too many memes.
Family Matters played him?
Oh God,
Yep.
that's the crazy part about that.
But
Yes.
you know what's funny? Did anybody watch the Sonic fan film?
Yeah.
The one with Brenna
Well-
Floss, nostalgic, like it had all these like cameos from internet people. It even got the original voice actor from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which again, Steve Urkel. They got him to play Sonic, which
Oh,
was
wow.
fine. Like that was a nice touch. Like honestly, out of the movie's all right. It's what you expect a Sonic fan film to be. It's not terrible, but if
No, it's terrible because anything they may make Sonic wise has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it's the worst thing of all time.
no, what
Ain't that right, Shadow?
Yes.
I'm saying is it could have like
I mean, it's not a 2D Sonic game, therefore it will suck by default.
as a Sonic fan, if it's not the worst thing ever, then we're pretty like we're content with that.
I mean,
Like
if it's not Mania, it's not Sonic Adventure 2, it sucks.
Now see, this my
Because
fault.
everyone likes Big the Cat for whatever reason.
No, but this my fault. To me, it doesn't matter if it's Sonic's in 2D or 3D. If it's enjoyable, I'm okay with it.
yeah, and the thing is that we like I don't like the people who compare the 2D to 3D. They're totally different games. They're judged on their own merit. Like
Yeah.
Sonic, like a lot of people don't like Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. From what I've seen and everything, I never like a lot of people played the. A lot of people I know played it the GameCube version, not the
Yeah.
original Dreamcast one. But
Yeah.
they
That's
have
that's how I was introduced to it from
and see, I
GameCube.
say battle. I played the GameCube version of Sonic Adventure 2,
Ah.
but those games have that weirdness about it has that quirkiness. It's something that we can't explain it to you why we found it so endearing when we were younger. Like, because nobody talks about the music. Nobody talks like honestly. I've always been the person that says I say, in my personal opinion, that Sonic music trumps a lot of Mario tracks. Not saying it's better than some Mario
Oh,
soundtracks, but I
oh, it's
Oh.
like you said it now. Here comes the SNES people that still want to fight a console war that's been long done
I
for
don't
millennia.
I don't care. I just admitted I'm a Sonic like I'm still like a Sonic fan. I don't got nothing to
But
lose. I
that's
got
the
nothing
thing
to
I
lose.
notice. That it's like anytime if there is a good Sonic fan, here comes that the one Mario fan that still wants to say Super Nintendo was better than Genesis. It's like, bro, Sega is a game developer now. The war is over.
Like yeah,
Stop
Yes.
it. Yeah. But the
And
Super
it's
Nintendo was better than Genesis. It's like,
look,
and me, Masada Culture. Remember a few years ago, there was rumor going around talking about Sega was trying to make a Dreamcast 2. Whatever happened to
no.
and
that? Like whatever happened
look,
to that?
despite
No, it's like it's a nice dream, but not in
Right.
this modern era.
Sega has its own kind of aesthetic and touch that Nintendo will never have. That's not saying Nintendo's not better than Sega. It's not
Well,
saying that's
we don't want to go there again, Ed, because remember we had a whole episode dedicated to
no.
Nintendo.
I'm just gonna talk about Sonic and Sega. Like they, for me, I always felt that Sega had that touch that you can't get from any game developer. Like, look at Sega may not be the game company that's developing its own consoles, but look at the games it has published. Like, I don't know about y'all, but Yakuza has probably been the one of my favorite series I've ever been introduced to, and it embraces the Sega name with pride. Yakuza 6 has a fully playable Virtual Fighter 5 when you go to the Sega arcade.
Wow.
That's something you won't get in a Mario game. Mario can't like yeah, you sometimes have those moments where they do have to play the classic Mario games, but when has like Nintendo done like that crazy arcade game that people remember other like cuz mostly when you think Nintendo arcade you think Donkey Kong, Super Mario, wait, no, just actually no, not even Super Mario. Just mostly Donkey Kong. What other what other Nintendo arcade game is out there that rivals Sega arcade games?
Well, I don't know if it does rival, but they do have that Mario Kart. Okay.
Yeah, But like,
No, we got Sonic.
but I'm just talking about that like with Yakuza, it has that meta
Right.
that a Nintendo game can't achieve. Like I just said, a Yakuza, a character from a Sega game goes to Sega Arcade in Japan to play Sega games. And oh my gosh, and there's the Yakuza 0 where it takes place in the 80s. Man, did they capture that like 80s arcade like vibe. And you could play like Outrun and Space Harrier
Hmm.
and I forgot.
Just like Shenmue.
No, Yakuza is pretty much just Shenmue's baby. It pretty much is what Shenmue could be with all this, cause Shenmue's more like a cinematic thing. Yakuza's like, hey, let's do what Shenmue does, but add like a beat 'em up
text to
brawler
it.
arena combat.
Yep.
But like when Sega makes a game and or publishes it, we just get like we know we may either get something really good or really bad. Like there is sometimes the in betweens, but without Sega, we wouldn't have Bayonetta. Like people say, without Nintendo, we wouldn't have Bayonetta 2, but without
No,
Sega,
Sega, we wouldn't have Bayonetta.
yeah.
So.
And then you had Vanquish, you had Mad World. That again, all those are platinum games.
You
But
can
under
list
Sega's
all the
belt.
examples, but yeah, there's always going to be that Nintendo fan that is just still trying to fight the war. It's 2019.
And I'm not trying
Well-
to say, yeah, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that despite
Well-
losing, despite not being, should have been crushed into the ground, Sega's still out there, and they're still probably one of the few developers when they make a game. It like a Sonic game could be terrible, but at least we could say, you know what? They try. It may not feel like they
has to
tried.
be perfect. Because if it's not perfect, it's the worst game of all time.
And
Yeah,
all we miss is
like
what's his name? Man, I forgot his name.
look. Let me just say it like this.
If you don't play the Saturn.
Let me say it like this. Mario Odyssey is pretty much the perfect 3D Mario game.
It's
They're
Super
not going to
Mario
be able to
64
top.
too.
They're not going to be
That's
able
what
to
it
top
is.
that. Somebody may say Galaxy is better than Odyssey, but what I'm saying is, right now Odyssey holds like this is one of the best Mario games. They're going to have to top that. Sonic Forces came out. That's an official Sega in-house Sonic team production. That one was met with mixed to negative results. They have nowhere to
Yeah.
go but up from here or dig themselves in a hole. But that's the thing. There'll never be a perfect Sonic game. So our hopes can be crushed, but they might not. We have that opportunity. And I know that sounds like, whoa, shouldn't you just have a perfect game and fun in general? It's like, yeah, but there's something fun to be found in these games.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, hardcore Sonic fans may not like Sonic Forces because it's
Because it's not 2D.
or not even that, or it's just that it's too much like Generations, or it's too much like, where it felt more like on rails and the levels were too short. And somebody actually made a good point. When you read the credits, the level design team was only like 2 people. So this game
Yeah.
was
Now,
handled.
that's a rarity.
If you, like,
That is
look at the
rare.
credits. Look at the credits. The level design team was pretty weak, and I feel like most of the effort went into the tracks of the game, like the songs, and the overall character customization.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If the game was perfect, the customization of the character would have been icing on top. But
Mhm.
that's character creation is pretty much what saved the game. And the story isn't that bad. It's kind of, if they worked on it a little bit more, it would have been like, if they kind of like, again, this is where they need to get the Archie team from the comics to do some of the stories.
Right. And
'Cause,
have an interesting
They would
villain
have
instead of
a
Infinite.
lot of interest. get
like
stuff
Liam
from Archie.
Liam O'Brien was infinite. All right, that's made me hyped from there. Just hearing his voice, like
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, his performance was great, but
no, and it,
what that had to do though was just it was
yeah,
wasted.
no, yeah, of course. But his, I'm not gonna lie, I love his theme song, theme of
His theme
Infinite.
song was okay.
Yeah,
I liked it too.
no, but I mean, I just like it because it's kind of like they really try to edge up Shadow, and I really like the idea that they just pretty much had a "I'm edgier than you" contest, and that's pretty much why he became the villain of the game.
I am, I am, I am.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shit. You made me who I am.
I love Shadow the Hedgehog. It's like, dude, like Shadow the I was like, Shadow the Hedgehog's not a bad game. Game Informer's wrong. He doesn't deserve a 4.
Yeah, but it deserves a fourth Chaos Emerald though.
Look,
You made that damn fourth chaos
where's
emerald.
that damn 4th Chaos Emerald?
I
Yeah.
love that. That's my favorite quote.
No, my favorite, Eggman, you're going straight to hell.
Man, Shadow, it's kind of dark.
Hey, Shadow. I gotta ask you something.
I am an android. I am the protector of the Ark.
Hey, bitches, where's
Get
the
out.
computer room? Oh man, Shadow the Hedgehog, like,
So much cheese.
Yes.
oh, let's just who's your favorite Sonic characters? Archie comics included. I may not know who you're talking about because I don't remember a lot of the Archie characters, but if you do have an Archie character, just throw it out there.
I would have to say the characters from Sad AM.
Hmm.
Because I've read most of everything revolving around the franchise. I mean, it was sad to see Archie stop, but yeah, let's just say legal issues. But like I said, if they were to make games based off of the Archie franchise, we would have more interesting games because Archie may had weird subplots going on, but they knew how to develop characters.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Look,
because essentially most of the characters from Sad AM, when you actually look at what happened in the comic books, they actually have character growth and whatnot.
oh, and you know what? Speaking of the, before I go, I'm gonna say my characters after this, but I like there's a comic where it actually shows the one character, the rabbit character from Sad AM. They show her like the reason why how she got her arm was that
Bunny.
Robotnik's machines throw the animals into the like into a machine to make them his robot slaves, and she got pulled out of it. She almost didn't survive her like they rescued her from being like fully transformed. She almost died in that process. But the thing is that the comic looks so lighthearted, and it's just like that's a real dark way of like Eggman's like enslaving the animals is actually a lot darker when you actually think about how the process of it works.
No, but
Robotic
now I'm
Sasuke
thinking
animals.
about it is now I'm thinking about it. Where was Peter back then?
That's what I'm saying.
Uh, they're cartoons. They don't care about Roadrunner, Wile E.
The
Coyote.
Pokemon cartoons too.
Yeah, but that makes money. Um, but okay, but for me, I am, I guess to speak, I am still a little bit of the hardcore Sonic. I'm part of the 3D Sonic like kind of rep. I still love the 2D Sonic games. I like Sonic Rush. I like the Advanced Collection. I even like Sonic Battle. Like, but I from those, but that's the
If
generation
it's
of.
good, I'll play it. If not, eh.
But I want to say that's from the Sonic Adventure generation. All those characters, well, with the exception of Cream, where she's more of the advanced. But I feel like that generation still connects with each other. And you
Yep.
know, I design wise or just aesthetic wise, before I met Shadow, Knuckles was my go-to. I love Knuckles. Knuckles was like I just liked his design. Um, I never actually I did not like what the uh underground did to him.
Well, where they gave him a hat.
No, Sonic Underground. There's like his episode just has a lot of animation errors, and you can just look up the gifs of it, and oh my gosh, like there's a scene where Sonic puts his hand over Knuckles' shoulder, and Knuckles is like tiny because of perspective. Because I guess they were animated on different cells from different people. But either
But
way,
that was a common thing. I mean, do
yeah,
I
of
need to
course,
bring
that's
up Street
understandable.
Fighter
It
2,
was a
the
low budget.
cartoon, or Mortal Kombat?
Whew.
But what made me like Knuckles even more was the Adventure series. You know, he's kind of not really like he's the character that doesn't. He thinks Sonic was the bad guy. He's a big. He's a. He's kind of dumb. He's like Zoro from One Piece. He's one of the strongest characters, but he is really dumb.
Wait. Are you saying Knuckles is a samurai?
I mean,
That'd be
in
something.
essence, in essence, in
That
essence.
was something.
I mean, oh my gosh, I forgot his name. The chameleon.
I mean, it
Team
would make
Chaotic.
SPO?
SPO. Yeah, SPO's a ninja. Why can't Knuckles be a samurai? But anyway, but again, I like the attitude he has. I like the idea that most of like his music focuses around hip hop. Um, like that. His when you first hear "Kick the Rock," they should name that song "Kick the Face."
It's your boy
that-
Knuckles.
that song blows. Like I was like, I did not expect that.
But
I
we
did not-
still don't have instrumentals of those. That boggles my mind.
I think it's because licensing. Because I think because Jun Sune worked on Escape from the City, but that one's like a popular song. Everybody remembers that song, so of course they
Oh, yeah.
probably just tuned it around. And that you have instrumentals of that song. But and when but yeah, so male characters it would go as mostly Shadow and Knuckles because I'm just a weirdo like that. Female characters, I feel like it's
It'd be nice to have if they were to have like a 3D Sonic game where they actually Sally.
yeah.
That'd be interesting because they could do the Sonic Adventure formula like 1 and 2, but do it with the Archie cast and build stories around that. That will make some interesting games.
Just give it to the fans again, Sega. Let's say like just give them the materials they need and they'll do it. It'll be amazing. It'll just be like how did they do this? And it's just like
I mean, they proved before. It's like oh, you know that one game that everyone likes, but apparently you don't want to make a sequel to.
yeah, and so but I was going to say it's a like I guess it seems a little bit of a like cop out, but it's a tie between I don't mind Amy. A lot of people don't like Amy. I think she's a fine character for what she is. And I actually
she
like
can
her.
have better character development,
But hey, but actually that
Yeah.
kind of happens in Boom. In Sonic Boom, she's actually a really well written character. Not the game. Sorry, let me clarify. Not the game.
Oh, that's right. You like Knuckle. What you think about Boom Knuckle?
Boom Knuckles was alright. I felt weird about his design. But watching the series, like, as the series progressed, because season 1 is alright. Like, later episodes where they started to get really.
You're so stupid. I know Sonic.
Yeah, they see, like I said, Knuckles is kind of hot-headed and he lets it get to him. But in Boom, they make him a straight-up idiot. And
Yep.
but the way they handled it in later seasons of the series, it was all right. Sonic X was a show I used to watch when it came out on the Fox box. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Right.
Like-
and they went through the after the
That one
original.
for me when I seen this.
What's up?
No, it's like the subtitle version.
Sonic says
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
shit.
but but that's an anime episode for us. Censorship,
Yeah.
that and the history of.
Sorry about that.
You're good. That happens. It's all right. Um, we don't even have to edit that out. But Rouge is. I honestly like Rouge's design, and I've seen some redesigns of her that actually are really decent.
What do
Um,
you mean decent?
no, like before you get it's like again, I know it's Rouge, yeah, but I mean like they kind of add like this weird hairstyle to her, and they kind of give her this outfit. Like I don't care.
Are
Like
you sure you're not looking at something else, Mister?
yes, I'm very sure. I know what sites have what, and I know when. And like I said, when it comes like personality wise, Rouge needs a lot more work, and it'd be kind of interesting to see a Sonic Boom version of her. Styx is alright too. Like the new, as far as new characters, like Styx is alright. Um,
But according to old Sonic fans, any new characters, we only need Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. Because anything else is just his ignoring.
unless Mania adds characters from Chaotix, or
Oh no! Those are counted as new friends. It's like wait, even though they came from an old game in the '90s, what?
no,
Right.
like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like from the concept art of Rouge, like the guy who designs the Sonic characters, like remember like Sonic went through like the guy who did the art for the current like adventure and all those. I kind of like that weirdness that it has. A lot of people like the shorter, chubbier Sonic, like Toy Sonic and Sonic Mania, and how he looks classic. And that design is fine, and I like it. No, of course. The
Oh, they
fact,
like the chubby
I,
version of Sonic because apparently we can't have a serious Sonic. It's always meant to be silly. Now,
but
no, we
his
can have serious stories and they actually be good. It's
his
just
his
who's pinning them.
but his redesign in the adventure series isn't that bad either. In fact, most people have adjusted to it.
No, but Adventure's too serious. I just want to run and jump on things.
Like I like right now on my shelf, I have a Nendoroid of Sonic, and it feels like it's more of a hybrid between classic and adventure, and it works. Uh, I on again the Sonic
So
Boom
my question
designs
is,
are
does that Nendoroid have green eyes?
yes.
Then it's the worst toy of all time.
Hmm.
I like his green eyes. It works. It's a complementary color.
The Green
Only
Eyes
way we
era.
can't
Look,
change anything is like he has to be short, he has to be pudgy, he has to be an 8-bit, and the music has to be in Genesis twang. It can't be good music.
all right. If anybody hates Crush 40 and Junsune,
Something wrong with them.
like blow me. All right. That's there's having like different tastes, but that those guitar riffs and everything, you could like as somebody who appreciates music, if you're somebody out there that appreciates music, you gotta admit, like a lot of the Sonic songs you can listen to off on your MP3 or like out loud. Like if it's your ringtone, people be like, "Oh, that's a nice ringtone." They won't even know it's a Sonic song, unless of
Even
course
the
it's.
cheesy ones from Sonic R.
Are you kidding? I love the Sonic R soundtrack.
You mean that romantic song?
I like
Yeah.
work. No, my favorite one is "Work It Out." I don't know. There's something about it that like Sonic games could be bad, and there's like some people say, "Oh, even the soundtrack wasn't that great on this one." It's just like his world in '06 is really good, and
Yep.
Sonic Colors I think is a one that a lot of people I forget to talk about it, like how good Sonic Colors is.
No,
Yeah.
and let me show you. They get a Sonic track, bass boosted to death, and say, see, this is what you think is good music. No, the song is not boosted to where it makes your ears
Oh, but
burn.
wait, hold on.
Right.
In Mario Odyssey, there's a song. I think it's called like "Break Free." It plays near the end. It is a Sonic Adventure 2 song. It sounds like it
Really.
had like it tried like
Sir, you take that back.
I was like, no, like that. What you talking about?
This
there's
is
a
the original song from Nintendo.
remember when people were saying like when New Donk City was announced, they were just comparing it to like the city in Sonic Adventure 1.
Yeah,
Station Square.
it's like,
What's this
oh,
doing in my
I can
Mario game?
slowly talk to people. This is amazing.
You know what? I would love to see Mario be in one edgy game.
That would be
Just
something.
one. I've always tried to imagine it. I can't imagine it. I want to see what Nintendo thinks. What would be
Well,
like
he was in one edgy game. That soccer game, the second
Strikers?
one,
But that wasn't
Strikers.
Strikers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one actually wasn't an in-house one. That was a different developer. But yeah, you're right. That one was
Ah,
probably the
but you know Mario don't serious. It's like you have context, like the whole midness of how the mushroom made, the bricks, and all these other theories, but you'll never have a serious story because you gotta keep Mario for the kiddies.
actually there is a serious story. I just realized, and it works because Sonic and Mario team up together. I'm
To
talking
go ice
about
skating.
Super Mario Brothers Z, baby. Anybody remember that?
Man, I wish he could still continues that.
I actually rewatched the fight in the Yoshi's Island fight against the Axem Rangers, and
E-
I I forgot what the turtles. I mean the Koopa bro. I guess they're called the Koopa Bros or whatever.
Yeah, the Cooper brothers.
But man, it's really like the guy who did it. Like I know he just reused sprites from the games, but again,
The effort.
you could still get sprites from the game and make it suck. It doesn't mean like that guy knew how to make it feel like a DBZ hybrid of Sonic and like if they actually did do it, that's what it felt like. Like
I mean, it ain't Eggman hates furries, but hey, it was good.
um, but I don't know, it works. Like Shadow being Vegeta, pretty much. Like go Sonic, kind of like the Gohan of the series, but it feels like the Sonic characters are more of the DBZ characters, but Mario and them still feel like their own characters. Like they don't feel like Mario doesn't feel like Goku. Luigi doesn't feel like Vegeta. They kind of feel like
And Metal Sonic is shredded for.
no, he's Cyrax. He the guy he uses the Mortal Kombat Cyrax sound effect.
Yep.
Oh man, but it was fun because it was campy. It wasn't edgy. I mean, there was it was edgy what happened to the Sonic characters. Like they all got killed by Metal Sonic. Like that was probably the most edgiest, but it wasn't. It didn't even play it like edgy. There
Wait,
wasn't
you
like
sure you're
blood or
not
anything.
talking about Sonic X? And by Sonic X, I'm not referring to those who remember Newgrounds. They know what I'm talking about. Like the whole game where it's like an RPG, but it's like a crossover with
I think I
Sonic and
remember.
Mega
Yeah.
Man X.
I don't remember actually playing it though, because I wasn't really into RPGs when I was younger. But yeah, I was into Sonic, so that shows you what I'm doing with my life. but
Yeah, but these are just memories of past, though.
I mean, we can go on and on about like Sonic, but it can be in good or bad light. I know most people. It's the easiest thing to do is to hate Sonic, and honestly, when it
I
comes
heard
to
you like Sonic. I heard you like to go fierce. Well, I hope your city speakers are gonna survive because they're just gonna keep blasting
Green Hill Zone,
Yep.
either that or something else that destroy your speakers.
look, listen,
like fist bumps.
if the first song that people bring up, or like if people do any Sonic parody and the first thing you hear is Green Hill Zone, they just Googled what Sonic is. Like even if they said they
Yep.
played it, like they don't play Chemical Plant. They don't play, and even Chemical Plant's considered like casual tier. Like, uh, I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. I'm mostly more indulged in the Sonic Adventure, like soundtrack. Like a lot of my favorite tracks aren't even Sonic's; they're Rouge's tracks.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh man, her like Dry Lagoon is probably like the best chill song. Like, you could play that at a bar, and I'd be like,
Get some
dang,
chill hip hop remixes going.
yeah.
Right.
Aquatic Mind is probably like the first definition of lo-fi chill hip hop.
Man, I love Aquatic Minds.
Um,
Yep. We have an instrumental for that one, or the Death Chamber.
Duh.
Oh man, those. It's funny because there's a part where it plays the sax, but it's supposed to be Sonic and Knuckles talking to each other, and Knuckles, the rapper's like, "You damn right, Sonic." Like Knuckles is like a few tracks away from like getting a Wu Tang member to do a Knuckles track, and you just hear him like,
Hey, but look on the bright side. It's better than Green Diamonds like Zelda.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's not gonna get out of my head.
Ever
Hearing
since
that.
that, so does that mean Link gets the N-word pass?
No,
Of course.
no, not unless I find me some Breath of the Wild.
I'm, I'm just playing, but like, cause like, I feel like Knuckles is this close. I feel like a lot of people. It's funny because people are like they don't have races because they're animals. But I've heard a lot of people say like, if Knuckles was a person, he probably would be black. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's a thing, I guess. And
Cause that's why everything he do has to, like that one track in Mania when you start as him in the desert. That was dope.
yeah,
Yes.
but I think despite changing that, but like going back to like Knuckles at the same time, the song "Unknown from Me" from Sonic Adventure 1, I like that song, and it's funny because I also like Parappa the Rapper,
So
and
you're saying that you like to get it on with yourself, and you were born by yourself.
so I'm the blow thrower, independent flower, master emerald holder. Gave you the coldest shoulder. My spikes go through boulders. That's why I stay a loner. I was born by myself. I'm this close to knowing the whole song, all right?
You know what would make it even
You
funnier?
could call me Sonic. Unlike Knuckles, I don't flex my muscles. I rather chuckle.
Bruh. Make the song even more amazing is have Eminem sing it.
Oh.
Ah, no,
You know
come
you
on.
want to.
Eminem
know
could
you
no.
want to.
Eminem could do a Sonic song or a Shadow song.
No, he has to do a Knuckles remix
No,
so
some.
you can hear it everywhere.
But I don't know. It's Sonic Boom, just Sonic in general. It's a franchise that should have died a long time ago, but there it is. It's still going,
It just keeps coming back.
Right.
and there's something like,
It's like I want you to stop. It's like,
and
no.
that's the thing. We want it to be the underdog story, but it's funny because he's not even technically the underdog because he rivaled Nintendo for the longest time.
He has his history and he got what he needed to get done. Where the stuff that we take for granted today is here. It's like we got online features, subscription services, gameplay mechanics. So yeah,
It's like
Look,
like we might get a bad game, but the history is still there.
okay, this is what Sega needs to do. They need to get with a whatever studio. I don't care what. It's gonna be a CGI movie, and what happens is it's gonna be an all star game. It's gonna have references to everything that Sega has done that they can think of off the top of their head. Like for M-rated games, they're gonna have little callbacks. Not gonna be anything too serious. Bayonetta's gonna show up, but she's not gonna really like. It's gonna be like Nintendo, like toned down Bayonetta. So what I'm getting at here is that they're going to
Hey,
do
yo,
a.
Shadow.
It's going to
What's
be a
up?
movie where
I see a wild Lionel field. What should I take into battle?
Oh wow, Lionel.
Yes. I don't have no silver arrows. What should I fight it
H and arrow. No, 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 no.
are y'all bringing
Uh,
up Breath of the Wild on our Sonic discussion? That's heresy.
Sure.
That is heresy
What's
to the
that?
highest degree, and the counselor of Sagata will not tolerate this. He comes into your house and he slaps he breaks whatever console you have and replaces it with a Dreamcast. All right,
No,
No, instead of
no.
a Dreamcast,
a
he
Saturn.
replaced it with a what you gonna with a Sega Saturn. Cause
Yeah, a Saturn.
Sega Sanchiro come there.
Yeah.
No. See, I'm cool because I don't know I have a Saturn lying around. I do play Saturn. He'll forgive me.
you just hear on
I play it.
Mugs recording. You just hear the door break, and he's like, "What the." He just grabs
Sega Sanchiro.
he just grabs your Switch, splits it in half, and just like when he splits it in half, it cracks like an egg, and a Saturn comes out of it.
Hmm.
And that's when Ryo from Shenmue goes, "Do you know anything where I can find about sailors?"
Eh.
That's a Shenmue.
But
deal.
anyway, like, do you have any time for the next episode?
Well, the next week. Well, I guess that should be wrapping up. So, next week. I mean,
Well,
which is the week
actually,
after.
well,
We're gonna do a week.
Well-
I meant to say week after next. Sorry, it's getting that late. But next week I'll be going to AsiliaCon, where it is a Tales of themed convention. So I will probably bring up my impressions and what happened, and whatever swag I obtained. And maybe in the video when it's uploaded to YouTube, I'll post a like slideshow when we start talking about it. So,
Yeah.
but also, I'm also trying to watch at least a few episodes of Shield Hero just to get my impressions of it.
Man, this is good.
Yeah,
It is
so
really good.
I think it'll be an anime focused episode next time. But oh man, what a messy, fun pod! It was fun talking about it, but man, was it messy.
Mhm.
Yep.
I feel like before we close off, I just feel like people are gonna get the impression that because they're gonna be like, oh, we had you for a second with your melee thing, but then you'd start talking about Sonic, so we know where you're coming from. It's like that's the thing though. We don't have high standards because we're Sonic fans. That's why when we're saying stuff about melee, we're coming from not a place of superiority, but rather than like, look, our we will fight amongst each other for like the smallest of reasons. But even we can point out that what melee does is a little bit, bull.
Yep.
It's again, it's not the whole community. It's just a select few that makes it bad for everybody. Same
No,
thing with
correction. It's the people that come after 2014. That's the problem.
and that's no different from certain Sonic fans that ruin it for everybody.
Right.
There's Sonic fans that make you like again, there are people that say they're Sonic fans, but the way they talk, they never talk about Sonic like we talked about it. Like we can trash talk Sonic and we all know we're all in play because we know like in a way it was what it's like. It's something that we people say nostalgia, but like Mario's still around because of nostalgia. Like it's also because their games are good, but I mean nostalgia is just a small factor. It doesn't really come into play when it comes to Sonic. It's more along the lines of we had fun of what we were given. Sonic Adventure as a series is not a perfect game, but to say it didn't have moments for us, we would be lying to ourselves.
Yep.
And honestly,
Mm-hmm.
the people that had the most critical um, critical opinions about Sonic are people that never actually played a Sonic game. Like, and it's interesting to hear from non-Sonic fans. It's kind of cool seeing non-Sonic fans be like, you know what, this game's actually pretty all right. But the thing is that it's trendy to hate Sonic. Like, the Sonic fan base can't have nice things, and whether or not it's from forces outside of the community or within, somebody's gonna ruin it for us, and we just gotta roll with it. But we, it's what Sonic's on his 25th year. We've had 25 years of dealing with, Sonic was never good from IGN and stuff like that. Like, oh,
Or people who still want to fight the war.
and it's so weird. It's just like, I I know I should have probably gotten into that, but Sonic games don't work like people want it to. People want to speed run the game before they even mastered the level. The the game the level. If you look at the spreadsheets of how the levels are built, they're like huge and they have all these like different paths because the game wants you to experiment, not to rush through it. You speed run through it to afterwards once you've beaten it. It's for the replay value.
Right.
You don't speed run games the moment you buy them. What are you, crazy?
Mhm.
You're pretty much saying I don't care about what the game offers. I just want to beat the game for bragging rights. And some speedrunners don't even like the games they speedrun. But that's a different topic altogether. So maybe I'll save that for another podcast.
The next one.
Maybe the next one. I feel like we'll probably be more emphasis on anime for the next one. But yes, it'll be the podcast the week after next. So I'll be going to a convention and I'll let you guys know how it all goes from there. And
Okay.
awesome. If you want to come back again, you're free to. Just
Cool.
hook up with
Okay.
Mug. We'll go from there, and we'll just
Cool. I like it. I like to do. I like to want to come back.
yeah. And don't be afraid to come up with if you have topics. If you if you want to save them for the podcast, or if you want to tell Mug, or you know, you can add me on your Discord, and we'll go from there. And you just,
Okay.
of course, DM because before I don't want to give people the assumption that our Discords are open to everybody. Maybe we'll have something for later when we start getting calls in or people wanting to ask questions, but that's for future stuff that we can look into later.
Right.
So I guess with that, I guess my closing statement will be: despite everything that we've said, Sonic is a cherished character, and Melee isn't a terrible game. It's just the situation makes us almost want to hate it. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
I almost want to hate Melee because of somehow the things we've seen. Maybe the community, maybe people haven't seen it, but
Nah, you're just being wrong. You just need to play Melee with the GameCube controller.
Oh.
Don't
no,
forget that.
well, Melee doesn't have Sonic in it, so it's odd. Let's just. I remember when Brawl came out. That was like me, like, oh, I can't wait to play as Sonic.
I mean, that was hype when Brawl came out. We had those two guest characters.
Yeah, no, when Snake was real, man, that was something else too. Again, topics for another time.
Yeah.
So, don't take us too seriously, guys. We don't want anybody, especially if you're in the Melee community who listens to this, we don't want you to feel that we're attacking you because we hate Melee or we hate you. It's more along the lines of it's no different from when the Sonic fan base gets up and about. It's okay to criticize communities when they're being, you know, unnecessary. You know, their actions are being uncalled for. Because it lets people understand that this is why we don't get to have nice things. You know,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yep.
Like, I don't want the worst possible outcome that can happen out of this is that the Melee fans get up and about and start ruining it for other, like, you know, because
For,
then guess what? Then even if Melee's on the side, like it's just a side tournament, it's not even a main event, that'll get kicked out. And then people just in general, word of mouth will spread, and people be like, "I'm not," and then I'm not gonna deal with that. And then fans, then people like, then the pro players will be screwed because their audience, a lot of their audience leaves them. Yeah, they may have the one or two like dedicated ones, but it's a domino effect. Negativity is a domino effect. When you top down one, it just goes down from there, and then it ruins it for everybody.
Yep.
Same thing again,
mhm.
and that's a good. I feel like that's a good way of like of comparing it. Like Sonic and Melee have that in common, where despite all of its flaws, it still has a very dedicated fan base. But the fan base needs to understand that there's a lot of stuff that people let them get away with that they shouldn't get away with, even in the Sonic community.
Did you just criticize?
I mean, you're the one. Like, hey, you know, it's no big
Nah,
deal.
nah. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. Listen, at the end of the day, let's just be happy that Melee still has its. You know, I'm speaking towards Melee fans. Melee still has a place, despite it being almost 20 years old. Because Sonic's 25 years old, Mario's 30.
Mhm.
Just because a game is old doesn't mean it won't, become something. But
Right.
but Smash Brothers carries on what Melee isn't the definite thing. It's Smash Brothers as a whole. All the series, like no other game out there has the impact that Smash Brothers has as a general series. Like if you look at Ultimate and you see Pac-Man, Simon Belmont, Solid Snake, Sonic, Mario, all on the same screen, and you just be like, "This is from the same game." If you showed anybody this in the '90s or '80s, they'd be like, "That's dumb. That would never happen." Oh, even Cloud,
Yep.
a PS1 character. No, Snake and Cloud, PS1 characters on a Nintendo console.
No, which would never work, but it worked.
No, no, no. It happens.
And
See, I know
another
because my dad
upcoming.
worked for Nintendo.
Look, if your dad worked for Nintendo, then my uncle worked for Sega.
Cause we know we got family relatives that tell us
And
everything.
I'm not talking about just any uncle. I mean the weird uncle. The uncle you
Weird
hear
uncle.
stories about. The one you get your drugs from. Oh,
It's like
Like,
okay.
I got
All
me
right.
an early copy of Smash Bros. Or that one dude who lying that says, "Yeah, I got the next Halo. My dad works for Microsoft."
Look, Smash Brothers just need. Look, next reveal needs to be Crash Bandicoot. We would come full circle if that happened.
I'm telling you, if I can get my Shantae, I'll be all right.
Shantae as an assist trophy, or even as a character, that'd be fine. I feel
You sure
like
you
Yeah.
don't want Shrek?
because Shovel Knight got the Shovel
I mean,
Knight.
that's someone out there that may want Shrek, but I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
wait,
mean,
hey, yeah, Melee got replaced by the Shrek Super Slam tournament. All right, that's what really
Super
happened.
Slime Turtle.
All right, so I guess we can wrap it up from here.
Okay.
So, I'm Ed Tama, 23.
I'm a mug, and with the salt.
And I'm Awesome Shadow.
And we'll see you guys the week after next. Have a good one.
Bye bye.